All right, well, thanks for tuning in with me on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. I'm off work, I'm home, and it's the day before Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I don't think I have a very big female demographic, but happy Mother's Day to y'all. I did a thing. I did something for my wife. We ended up, and I'll kind of tell a little bit of the story here in a minute, I ended up getting rid of something that was near and dear to her heart. Today, we have replaced it with something rather interesting. It's going to be a little bit of a project, but I think her bones are good. I pulled a Carfax on this and was pleasantly surprised with what I found on it, and we'll go over that later on the video. I'm going to be quiet right now, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce it to you. And here it is, and of course, it's a minivan, and of course, it is a Chrysler product. So this is a 2015 Town & Country Touring. I'm going to put a link to the 2013 that I did get rid of. I ended up having to sell it, and I put my wife in our 16 Traverse, and it did exactly what Traverses do. It laid her down. So I've been on the hunt for something for her. I haven't really told anybody, but this one, 186,000 miles, a lot of recent service. I'm going to show you that on the Carfax. The first thing, I mean, it's got its issues, but it's not perfect. But brakes, tires, brand new. So we'll talk about the issues. As you can see, we'll have some decisions to make there. But the one thing we're going to try to address tonight on this is the elephant in the room. This big old, where this is caved in, this still opens just fine. It's power lift gate. I've actually cleaned on it a little bit, and this one actually was not that bad on the inside. I've already got this unhooked. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. It's not the right thing to do, but it's going to be the right now thing to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my torch. I'm going to take that back panel off. I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going to try to pop it out here in this video. We're going to see if we can make that better. My plan is to definitely replace this lift gate. I'm finding them anywhere. If I can find one at U-Pull and I can actually use a Grand Caravan. If you use a Grand Caravan, you just basically take this piece off and replace it. So I can go Grand Caravan or Town & Country, and the good thing is it is refrigerator white, so finding one should be pretty easy. So we're going to try to make that look just a little better tonight. I'm not doing any paint, but I'm trying to pop as much of that out as I can. So you come around to this side, and this door kind of got it too. I don't know if we'll do it in this video or not, but I'm going to try to pop this door out. Maybe. You've got paint popped here. You've got paint missing here. I got to replace this trim piece. It broke in two. These are like 20 bucks on Amazon. They're in my cart. I'll have to pick them up. But brakes and tires all the way around. This thing has had anything that could be done maintenance-wise done in the last 20,000 miles. I'm going to go ahead and show you in the Carfax right here. All right, so let's hop on the inside. Like I said, 186,000 miles. No TPMS lights on. So this seat is pretty well shot. So I'm gonna look at replacing the seat. You can see where it's ripped and the foam's coming out. This is broke. The trim on this side is broke. I need trim on that side as well. Like I said, 187, 636 on the miles. We'll fire her up. No warning lights on the dash. This thing ain't even got a TPMS sensor on. So this is equipped just like my 2013. Like I said, it's got about 100,000 less miles than one I sold. Actually, I paid $1,500 for that one. I ended up selling it for $2,100 and I drove it for 6 months. I've just got this one folded in the floor. I've cleaned up back here. Probably the dirtiest was where she had spilled some Cokes up in there. I haven't cleaned the windows. It's not exactly perfect, but the back's not too bad. The passenger side seat is in really good shape. It's got all the stow and go. The stow and go was actually clean when I folded this seat. I vacuumed out just a little bit. This thing, other than me just really folding these seats back in and wiping these panels down, the inside of this thing is in pretty good shape. Like I said, new tires, new brakes all the way around. It's got a little bit of body damage, but we can address that. Like I said, I found this. If I go to U-Pull and get it, I can get this whole thing for less than $100. And I've already looked online. Swapping this out is super easy. Same thing with these doors. If I pop these out, like the way they look, if I pop them out, I may just fill this and paint it so I don't have to really, well, I'm gonna have to mess with the pinstripe anyway, but we'll figure that out. Like I said, it's got the remote for the DVD player that's up here, and I believe it works. I haven't really tried it. Yeah, it powers on. The remote is supposed to, I found 2 remotes with this thing, but your remote is supposed to tuck right up in there. But yeah, it works. It's powering up, trying to find a disc. Seat on this side's fine, but this seat trim it's busted right here. If I could find one, I can replace it. I found the driver's seat. I messaged a guy on Facebook Marketplace. I can get that seat for $100. So this may just be some swapping some parts, and this actually be a pretty nice van. This be something that we'll actually hold on to for a while. Seems like it's going to be good. Let's hop in. We'll take this thing for a drive, run it up the road for a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and address that lift gate. What we're going to do is go ahead and head on to the house with this. We'll take it out and drive it a little bit later. We're going to head on to the house, and I'm going to work on trying to make that lift gate look a little more presentable. Okay, so we made it back to the house. Here's the plan. I got the plate off. Anything I think that may catch on fire. So you see how dented this is in here, in here. I'm not expecting perfection. I may be able to bend this lip back a little bit, but you've got a pretty big dent here. I may be able to make that better. Ultimately, we're going to end up replacing the lift gate. All I'm going to do tonight is see if we take this torch and a 5-pound hammer, if I can't make that any better. So one of the first things that we're going to have to do is get this lift gate open. I've already unplugged the rear light. This rear light won't plug in because if you can see in here, this is all dented. So my ultimate plan is to get this bent back out enough to where I can plug that light in that is sitting right here on my black stone right there. So you've got these screws to take out. I believe there is 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and I think this just pulls apart from that point. So give me just a second, let me get this out and we'll see what's behind here. Okay, so it's 8:25 in the evening. I really don't want to disturb my neighbors, so we're going to leave the hammer part of this session for tonight. So let me show you what the plan is. It's getting dark. We'll see how this works. I've got the panels off. I'm going to heat this up here on the outside. I'm going to take that torch over there. I'm just going to heat this up, get a little warm, and see if we can't push this metal somewhat back out. We've got the panel off, so you can see the screw holes. Excuse the mess in my garage. I need to sweep tomorrow. And then you can see all the nice little push pins. I left the top piece in because we don't need it off to get to what we're going to look at. So I want to look And let's just see what's actually pushed out. Let's get a light. See if I've got my little light over here. All right, let me figure out where my light went. There it is. Got it. So once you get this out, you've got that your power wiper motor. This would be the top parts of your panel. Really? So this is crazy. Here, this is why the light won't come out. So I'm gonna see if I can get something metal and just, we'll heat that up. First, we'll see if we can push on that. This panel is pretty, see, this part up here is not really smashed. It's more down here, and I'm on the search for a lift gate for it. There's not much to taking this off. So pretty much, once you pop this top panel here off, the plug for this is up here. The key is to really find one. I'm gonna try to find one with the rear deck lid on it. I'll try to find one with the rear deck lid where the spoiler is up here. I'm gonna try to find one like that. That way I don't have to mess with the push pins and the clips. So if I find a white one that's already got that on there, I'm just go ahead and pay whatever it is to go ahead and get it. So pretty easy. If you have to take this off, you can see where all the wires and hoses pop out. You can see where everything bolts on. So my goal is going to be just to basically unplug one and replug one in. I think is going to be the real fix. So I think I can, the only places I can get in, again, I think is maybe up in here. So I'm going to try to get a piece of metal and maybe push right where it's crinkled. Right up here in the corner maybe. See if maybe we can pop some of that out. We're going to use fire. Don't try this at home. So if my wife sees this, my name's George. Welcome, jackass. Alright, pretend like you didn't see that. Should have grabbed the remote ahead of time. I really need something to bend up in there. So I'm gonna take this. God, this is probably one of the... See that? It's already cooled off. So, really, we're going to replace this lift gate probably more sooner than later. It's going to be one of the first things that we do. So, we're going to cut off here for tonight. Tomorrow's Sunday. Got the day off. The boys mowed the grass yesterday, so I don't have yard work to do. So we're gonna fiddle around, probably make some videos, and we're gonna work on some cars. We got some cleanup left to do on this one. I'm gonna get on Facebook Marketplace and see what I can do about some parts and make a parts list. We can go over that tomorrow. We'll look this thing on the inside in the daylight, and I'm gonna figure out what all I need. Okay, so Saturday got away from me, and it is now Sunday. I've given up on trying to straighten this lift gate anymore. I'm just gonna replace it. I've got a couple ideas there. We can, at the end of the video, we'll talk about that. So today's order of business is going to be the inside. So I vacked it out. It's pretty clean. I got the back seats down, but you can see all this plastic in here is still pretty grungy. I actually found 2 sets of headphones, 2 remotes for the DVD player, and the DVD player in here actually works. Not that anybody uses it. All my kids are older now, so not something we'll use. I still got this off the back hatch, so I like to use like a 50-50 super clean, then come back and wipe it down with the Armor All later on. But we're going to get all the grunge out. I'm going to climb back here. As you can see, you know, you got a little grunginess. I kind of cleaned up the front a little bit better because my wife needed it pretty quick, so I didn't get a chance to clean as good as I could. I didn't clean the windows. We needed to degrease the engine. So we'll run a few errands in this today. We'll get her all cleaned up, and then we'll talk about what's going to be the future of this thing. Okay, so my battery's down to 11% on the GoPro, but here's where we're at. So, I mean, it's not cleaning up too bad. So I got all this done. I still have that seat folded. So I went ahead and got the door panel all down, the door jambs. All that. We're going to scrub this plastic here. I'm going to get these, this seat folded into the floor. We'll get this one cleaned up. The fronts, I cleaned at work and scrubbed. So I already did the front. I need to do vents yet. I'm going to do a really good job on the windows, but I think we're going to go out and try to find us a newspaper. I like using newspaper to clean windows. It just, to me, it's old school. It works good. You don't get all the streaky streaks. We got plenty of glass cleaner. And I need to go out and grab my engine degreaser. The underside of this engine is filthy. So we'll get it cleaned up too. So let me get this seat folded. Let me clean this door panel. We will go do the engine degreaser. We'll take this thing for a spin. Then I'll come back and do the glass, and we'll wrap this baby up for this part of the video. All right, let's take this thing for a ride to the car wash. We're gonna go degrease the engine bay. I'll show you what that looks like before and after. I like just to use some, I get some generic Walmart degreaser, but I'm really thinking about trying some Bling chemicals. Not sponsored at all, but I've seen a couple YouTube channels using their products, and it looks like they work well. I need to get a pressure washer for the house and a couple other things first, but pressure washer, air, and I need a little bit little bit better shop vac. So we're gonna have to, it'll be about a 5 or 6 mile drive to get to the car wash. This thing drives so good though, as it should. All the stuff that's recently been replaced on it and all the maintenance that's been done over the years. This thing's been a well-maintained van. They just beat the shit out of the outside of it. So I am going to need a driver's side seat. The foam is like brittle and nasty and flaking off, so I put a cheap set of, my wife ordered a cheap set of seat covers just to get through till I can find a seat. Seat's probably going to run me, I found them anywhere from $100 to $200 for a good driver's seat. So I'm gonna be on look for a driver's seat. I need the seat trim on both sides of the driver's side and the outside on the passenger. Other than that, the interior doesn't need anything else. Just a good cleaning. It's not in bad shape. I think on my center console, I think my front clips are broke. So if I could find one, I mean, it's not a necessity, it stays in. The back locks and it won't flip over. It's in place. It's a little wobbly. So if I'd happen to find one that works, you know, I'll pick one up. I'm definitely going to need a couple sliding doors. So here's what I figured out about the sliding doors on this. You can just take the doors off without messing with any of the power motors or any of the tracks. There's one plug in the probably bottom middle of the door, and then I think it's 6 bolts. There's 2 on top, 2 on bottom, and 2 on the very back where it kind of slides in the arm. So really all you gotta do is unbolt it and bolt on new doors. So new doors should run me for this van, I've seen them probably, we're gonna say $300. Liftgate, I've seen them anywhere from $150 to $500. So what I'm hoping is to go to our local U-Pull yard and find one in this color and pull all the body parts I need, and then I'll have a good interior and a good body on a well-maintained van. So this is one I gave a little bit more money for. I think I ended up paying $3 grand for this one. But to me, knowing the maintenance history, it's probably more than I should have, but it well worth it. It was well worth it to get one that, you know, it's got brand new tires, brand new brakes, transmission service done. You know, I don't have to worry about doing an oil cooler. If I ever have if I have an oil cooler leak with this later on, I'll upgrade to the metal one. This one does have the plastic one, which, you know, if it ends up leaking at some point, we'll upgrade that to metal. The cool thing I did learn is that I can use Dodge Grand Caravan sliding doors, and I can use a Grand Caravan liftgate. So if I find a Grand Caravan versus Town and Country, then there's just a couple pieces that are in good shape on the parts. You know, there's a couple parts I like to swap to use the Dodge, but it's not that hard to do, and it's something that if we find a nice Dodge one, I'm not ruling out grabbing one of them and just swapping the hardware to make it a Chrysler. There's really not much of a difference. Let me go ahead and shut this down. We'll be at the car wash here in about 5-10 minutes, and we'll check back in when I get ready to degrease this engine. Alright, so we're at the car wash and we got her running, and like I said, this thing is super quiet, but it's real dingy under here. So what my plan is we're gonna spray this down with engine degreaser. We're gonna make this just look a lot better. There's nothing leaking, nothing burning. I do gotta, oh, that reminds me. Put the overflow cap back on. let me get this thing cleaned up and I'll show you the after. And this is what after looks like. I kind of ran out of the degreaser, but I always like to scrub the top of this. The real reason why I like to do this is to get down here and look and see if I see anything that's leaking. You know, if something maybe leaked and wasn't cleaned up. This smoke you're seeing is from spraying water. It'll evaporate and go away. You know, you put your little engine slickums up here, spray a little Armor All, and this thing's gonna look good as new. All right, I'm gonna get her to the house. The next thing we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna go ahead and get the windshields cleaned up. I got a panel to clean on the passenger side yet. I'll clean that door panel. I may get my steam cleaner and look the front, see if there's anything that I need to maybe hit a little bit harder. I'll end up getting some touch-up paint, or I might try to just sand and paint these two little rust spots right here before they get any worse. Other than that, like I said, we get these doors swapped. We'll go ahead and swap that hatch. I'm gonna do the hatch first because I can deal with these doors for a little bit, but that hatch is really getting on my last nerve. I was on the marketplace last night trying to find one, unless I want to drive to St. Louis, about the closest I'm gonna find so far. Let's get on to the house. I'll get these windows all cleaned up, get this thing looking as right as we can get it, and we'll wrap this baby up. Okay, I'm going to show you kind of the finished product at this point. So I went around and I cleaned all the wheels. Now I've got seat covers on the front, and I'll kind of explain why. But the rest of the seats, including that passenger seat, is in this kind of shape. They all fold just fine. All the trim on them's good. Back seats just as clean. This thing cleaned up well. I found 2 remotes for the DVD player and it works, and I found both set of headphones. I didn't check to see if the batteries were good in them, but I cleaned all the wheels. I cleaned all the glass. We got the center console back in as well. This side didn't stay. I've got a set of these ordered and on the way. So I've got a little bit of trim to get. I've priced a driver's seat. Driver's seat's gonna cost me about $100. So we'll talk about kind of what we're gonna do here. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's where I'm torn. I really need both doors, and these come off. And I'm definitely going to film this because I didn't find any videos on YouTube, but they made this super easy. You take these bolts out here. There's a plug, if I can get you down there. There's a plug down there. You've got a couple bolts up here. And then the tracks actually, all your sliders bolt off the door, so you can actually bolt both these doors off, which will make this a super easy swap. So here's where I'm torn. I need both these doors. I need a seat, and I definitely need a lift gate. So my priority is going to be a lift gate. I've got seat covers on for now, so I can wait on a seat in the doors. So here's the part where I'm torn. Do I go to U-Pull and pull these? I figure I'm gonna pay $100 for a driver's seat, probably about $100 for each door, so I'm gonna pay about $425 if I can find one. Now I can use a Dodge Grand Caravan. All I gotta do is swap out the fascia plate on the back. I really want to find the lift gate with the third brake light already on it, so I don't have to take this one off, because I don't want to mess with the clips. I've got a video somewhere that I think it might be in one of my how-tos where we did one on a Honda Odyssey, and it was a huge pain in the ass. And it's not really something I want to tackle if I don't have to. So we're going to have a lot more with this van. This is going to be my wife's new daily driver. Although she works from home, she's not going to put very many miles on this thing. So I don't expect the miles to go up pretty quick. I might do an oil change probably in about I'll probably do an oil change in the next couple weeks. I'm hoping to find a lift gate. I found one for 200 bucks, but I don't want to drive 5 hours to go get it, when I think I could drive to 2.5 hours to St. Louis and find everything I would need in one day. So if you want to watch more stuff with this van, definitely subscribe to my channel. I've got a couple other vans that I've done some work to. Check out my how-tos, and I'll have another one together soon. I'll see you then.